artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, and moreover Reservoir engineering. So I'm very curious to know how about our audience. Probably they might be knowing about, they might be heard about ChatGPT and AI. So how many of audience are aware of Reservoir engineering? Why? Because we are going to integrate, AI in Reservoir engineering. So this is the one which we are going to, we are going to embark on. So we already told that the prerequisite for this session is to have a little bit knowledge in MS Excel. Why? Because the most important tool currently, like, the huge importance and significance is there in this generation is MS Excel. Like every industry will be having Excel. Without Excel, I think no industry currently we are witnessing. Currently, most of the industries are following Excel, and each and every software tools were based on Excel. This is the fact that we are going to, we need to go ahead with that. And AI is something, like these days, it is not about today what we are talking as ChatGPT. AI have been introduced earlier, but it today is the day where we are getting this as an open source, like anyone can access. It doesn't need any authentication or any prior investment to do that. But earlier also this is there, but not in the name of ChatGPT. But there are number of different names have been used earlier stages, like Jasper, and the same job what ChatGPT is doing, it was done earlier before introducing this into today's market. But today it is an open source. It is free for everyone. You can use it. You can reduce the efforts, and it is going to transform lot of industries. And the way you're going to see, in future, it will be different. And we have a quotation in our course that zero coding knowledge. So you're going to see that why we have mentioned that zero coding knowledge. And whether coding is AI, that doesn't mean coding relates to AI, but it will help you to transform your information from one platform to another. That is the reason coding is required. So for learning Reservoir engineering, there is no need to know about any kind of code. But the thing is, we are going to simulate these parameters in different platforms. For that, we need to know about codes. And imagine, like, you people, like a lot of people are already experts in your own fields. Definitely, you have reached to some extent in your careers. You might have experience in oil and gas industry or different industries. Probably you may not be having good. You may not think much about coding earlier, but today we introduced AI to make you people to code without coding knowledge. This is the primary agenda of it. Reservoir engineering, we have done so many programs using different tools. For that, we have taught them to learn the tools. Okay, in PA platform itself, there are a number of programs have been conducted with learning that particular program. But here, your job going to be easy. You are not going to learn any coding, but only the thing is you are going to get outcomes by prompting. So how you are going to prompt, and moreover, that doesn't require much knowledge in English also. Like, it is not that you need to learn good language so that you can give good prompts. It is not about that. Your machine has to understand. This is what you are going to do. So you're going to treat your machine that what is the outcome you are expecting from it. So for it has to understand your problem. Like, in that way, you have to prompt it. So this is what actually ChatGPT comes into picture. Like, ChatGPT is the one what we are going to use prompts to get outcome. We say that as prompt engineering. Okay, so with that introduction, I will just start the slides. So introduction to what is ChatGPT. It is like 2023 is the year where we have introduced. It was introduced into the market, and which is an open source. And it is not only AI tool that we are having. We have different AI tools are there, like Binge, Bing, and the Mid Journey is there. And like that, there are a number of tools like ChatGPT. They are already there. You can use ghost writer also. So these are all the chat gpt, I mean like AI tools that are available in market, which are free, that can be accessible by anyone. You can use it for your own purpose. When it comes to reservoir engineering, it is related to oil and gas industry discipline, one of the most important area where crude oil will be deposited in subsurface. So you're going to understand its nature and behavior in petrophysical manner. So based on that, you're going to take some decisions to start drilling, exploiting it. So how best you can able to exploit crude oil commercially, like how much you're going to invest, you're going to get the profit by selling the oil. So you're going to have some estimations. And moreover, these are connected to oil prices. All the time, oil prices are dynamic. So you need to understand the dynamism of oil prices. Based on that, the production operations will be carried on. So your projects, reservoir projects, management projects, every project is related to finance, and a lot of dynamics are there. In this way also, like in technical, if you see, you need to understand the concepts behind reservoir engineering, so that only you can able to extract crude oil in an economical way. For that also, you need to learn technology and reservoir engineering. Of course, we are not going to go deep into that, but the thing is, like, if you have some idea about reservoir engineering, then we may not able to spend more time on that. Rather than that, we can integrate AI as well as reservoir. So this is the one. Application of ChatGPT in reservoir engineering. Why we need ChatGPT? Whether we can do without ChatGPT? Yes, up to now everyone is doing without using ChatGPT. But for that, we have kept some efforts. So how this ChatGPT will help you to do this process in reservoir engineering? Like whatever process you are doing, that will be continuously, it can be done. You might have heard that there are number of companies which have been replaced by employees because of ChatGPT. Whether ChatGPT can replace other employees, let us see. Like when you start going into this today's session, you will get that answer also. That is what I believe. See, as a zero coder, like probably you are the people, you might have learned little bit coding, or you may be good at coding also, but you can cross check with things what we are going to do over here. If you feel this is better, then definitely you can adopt this. Obviously in future, everyone is planning to, I mean, they have to adopt this kind of environment everywhere in the industry. In that way, uh, you have to reduce manpower. It can be used to reduce manpower. So in that also, we have to think in that prospect. And let us see, already some case studies are available in oil and gas. It has affected oil and gas industry, that uh, some changes have happened because after introducing chat gpt, certain changes have been happened in oil and gas industry. That also we are going to check out. So introducing about chat gpt, that we already know. So if you could see this presentation was not done manually. This was done by AI. To say frankly, I used an AI tool to generate this presentation. My efforts have been reduced. You are seeing high megapixel images with the content. So the content I haven't typed, I haven't given any prompt. I just asked something to create presentation for me regarding reservoir engineering. So which is connected with AI. It has given its own images. I haven't created this presentation. This was created by AI. Just I want to make sure that this even presentations are possible with AI. A lot of things are happening. So this is one among that. So ChatGPT is the one that we are going to discuss today, and it is an Autobot. It is going to, help you to reduce your efforts, and you can talk to ChatGPT as if like a partner or companion or a friend, or it is up to you. Why? Because I am connecting with the relation means ChatGPT also starts understanding your problems in that way. Like, once you start prompting to it, it will start, adjusting, and it starts adhering all the things connected to that prompt actually. So you cannot deviate your prompt from one particular discipline to another. Why? Because it started to adapt to that nature, that culture, or that environment. So it creates an environment, it creates a domain with your prompts. So that is how ChatGPT will help you. So once you start prompting to it, it starts generating a domain. a network with you. Like, it wants you to tell more and more information so that that network will become bigger and bigger. Like, it will be becoming huge so that you can able to get lot of insights through that. So this is what exactly ChatGPT is different from whatever technologies that you have seen earlier, like in internet. So we are going to see it. It is not just about one particular industry. It is not. It is connected with all the industries, and in future also it is going to spread everywhere into even every sector. AI is going to be adopted everywhere actually. So you are supposed to start understanding it, and you have to move according to that. So ChatGPT is the one which is going to calculate all the values. It will reduce your efforts. That is what we were discussing about it. And reservoir engineering, the one I have already told you, it is an important discipline in oil and gas industry where we are going to, there are no so many other exploration, production, development, and reservoir engineering. This is the one which comes under production, and you have primary production, secondary and tertiary. So dry mechanisms will come, and secondary water, and third will be like enhanced oil recovery will be there. So all these processes will be carried on. And well testing is one thing which is connected to reservoir engineering, where we are going to understand the wells and their behavior inside the reservoir. So that also will be done through reservoir engineering. So this is a technology that we are going to study in oil and gas industry. And right now we will see how ChatGPT is going to impact and reduce our efforts to get more insights. Applications, that is what we are discussing about. Conclusions, this is the presentation part. And these are the case studies that we have already gone through. A major oil and gas company used ChatGPT to analyze reservoir data and identify opportunities for improved well performance by leveraging the AI capabilities of ChatGPT. The company was able to quickly identify previously overlooked patterns and optimize their drilling and production operations. The results was a significant increase in well productivity and overall efficiency. Some mistakes have been done by the company that have been overlooked, and they have gone through some distance in the production. Because of ChatGPT, they have identified that and they have changed it so that well productivity have increased. So this is one case study. When it comes to another case study, it reduced operating costs. Production costs will be there, operating costs, exploration costs, different costs will be there. So this is one among the most important things. Daily operations will be carried on, and that have been reduced by ChatGPT. Another company used ChatGPT to automate the analysis of well data, reducing the need for manual data entry and analysis. This resulted in a significant reduction in operating costs and improved accuracy of data analysis. The AI capabilities of ChatGPT allowed the company to quickly identify trends and anomalies, enabling them to make informed decisions about their drilling and production operations. So certain economic changes have been done by using ChatGPT. That is what exactly these two case studies are showing to us. And we will see into deeply about how it is going to help us. So the topic that we are going to discuss here is reservoir engineering topic. One is inflow performance relationship. What is inflow performance relation? We can simply say it as IPR. IPR is a potential capacity of a well can be assessed through this particular parameter, IPR, inflow performance relationship. So you can see the graph what you have on the screen, like y-axis will be wellbore pressure and x-axis will be flow rate. And IPR have been constructed as a straight line where the y-intercept is reservoir pressure and x-intercept is maximum flow rate. So actually, if you see here, maximum flow rate, where exactly y value becomes zero. That means pressure if it is zero. What is this pressure? This pressure is wellbore pressure. In a well, if wellbore pressure becomes zero, then the production will become maximum. That is what exactly it says. So at zero wellbore pressure, you can observe that the production have reached to maximum. At the wellbore pressure, which is equivalent to reservoir pressure, you can see it is touching on y-intercept. That means flow rate is 0. If wellbore pressure is equivalent to reservoir pressure, then flow rate will become 0. Means wellbore pressure is equivalent to reservoir pressure and reservoir pressure is there. So there is no pressure difference. PR minus PR is equal to 0. Why? Because both values are there, same values. In that way, there won't be any production into your well. So each well will be having unique IPR. So the value of Qmax will differ from one well to another well. So you need to identify IPR for each well. And based on this IPR, you can able to do number of alterations like casing design, diameter of casing, choke diameter design. Why? Because when you change the diameter, IPR will change. So this IPR will help you to give you the best stabilized flow rate for a particular diameter, for a particular operation, for a particular flow rate. So what kind of flow rate that you're going to adopt, that makes the difference. And that doesn't mean that you need to go on increasing the production by increasing the size of diameter. There will be always a stabilized production will be there for a particular diameter that you need to identify, and that can be possible by inflow performance relationship. We are not going to deep dive into IPR, but I just want to create IPR in a simple, I'm not going to use much data also. I'm going to just tell you how IPR can be generated by manually as well as with ChatGPT. Okay, this is the agenda. So that is the reason I'm not going to go deeply into this. So for that, in IPR, there are few applications are there. J represents productivity index, that is equal to flow rate of crude oil, that is QO by pressure drawdown, PR minus PW. PR represents reservoir pressure and PW represents wellbore pressure. So QO, from that equation itself, you can just transform J into PR minus PW. So when you see this condition Qmax, you can observe that it is touching at x-intercept. That means the value of y is 0. So what is the value of PW? That is 0. Why? Because PW varies from 0 to PR. So at 0, the value of PW, your Q0 will become Q0 max, which is represented as AOFP. What is AOFP? That is absolute open flow potential. This is the maximum amount of production that can be acquired by a particular well. So AOFP will be different from one well to another. So you need to identify AOFP for all the wells inside a reservoir. So for that condition, PW must be equal to 0. This is an important parameter that we need to consider. Then comes, if you know the value of PW, you can put over here. So J into PR will come finally. So this is, if you know productivity index into reservoir pressure will give you AOFP, or else through this graph itself, you can get your value of AOFP. So you can do it in two ways, how to construct IPR. That one is 2-point test, another one is single point test. For that, little information is required. So you need y-axis and x-axis. That is like y-axis is your wellbore pressure and x-axis is your flow rate. So for that, you need to allow a well to produce for at least 2 times. For a particular pressure drop, well will be produced. So you will be getting 2 points. For different pressure drops, you will be having different flow rates. So you can put it in the graph. You will be getting 2 scatter plots, 2 points in a scatter plot. And first of all, what you have to do is just add these two. Like if you have 2 points, you can construct a straight line. Like that, you can add it up. So these are the scatter points corresponding to x and y axis. Like, x axis towards for this point, this is the x axis and this is the y axis. Means flow rate over here and pressure here. In the same way for these 2 points. So first you need to join these 2 points. So why? Because this is a construction of straight line. It doesn't have any, like any curvature, nothing will be there. This is a simple oil IPR which doesn't have any curvature. Why? Because we don't have gas in our reservoir. We have to assume that, so that only it will be a linear straight line. If gas is there, then that line will start to curve. So for that one, we are considering a simple oil reservoir where there is no gas. Connect these 2 straight line, extend these line towards x and y axis to get your reservoir pressure and absolute open flow potential. So this is how you are going to estimate with 2-point test. When it comes to single point test, you need to know reservoir pressure. It is a common data. You can get this data from other well logging or drilling or exploration. Even exploration itself, you can get this data reservoir pressure. So once you get that data, that already you will be having that data, and only one time you need to allow your well to flow. So that is reservoir pressure. And this is the point where you allowed your well to flow for one time corresponding to X and Y axis, means corresponding to pressure drop as well as flow rate. Then join from reservoir pressure to that particular point on the graph. From there itself, you need to extend it towards your X axis to get your AOFP. So in these two ways, you can estimate the value of AOFP. So you need at least for 2-point test, you need at least 2 points of your flow rate. If you have that, you can estimate the value of AOFP as well as reservoir pressure. Let us think that we have, little data regarding to this. Generate IPR curve by 2-point test with the following table and generate AOFP as well as reservoir pressure. And you can see the parameter was given flow rate in stock tank barrel per day, and PWF value was given in PSI. Test 1, you have flow rate as well as pressure, and test 2 also you have flow rate and pressure. So right now I will take you to MS Excel to just see how we can do that. And then we will go to ChatGPT. So you can see the data I already kept here. I hope everyone can see that. Q is there, P is there. Just I kept the data over here. So right now, what is my objective is to, create that 2-point test, and I'm going to estimate AOFP and reservoir pressure. So just I'm going to select the data, insert, and I will select scatter plot. Just select the scatter plot. So currently the value what I got it is not exactly scatter plot. Just what we have to do is double click on it, and you can see switch rows and columns. You will be getting exactly the scatter. Why? Because you have only 2 points. So Excel will totally, it will calculate the 2 points. It will give you all the values. So rather you just should do this one. So this is exactly the scatter point what we are expecting. And for convenient, I am removing the grid blocks. So you can see these two. But first of all, what we have to do, we need to, you have 2 points on the scatter point. For this point, this is the y-axis and this is the x-axis. And you already know what is x-axis, that is flow rate, and y-axis is wellbore pressure. So first, this is 2-point test. So first thing is to connect these 2 points and extend it towards x and y axis to get AOFP as well as reservoir pressure. For that, what Excel have to do with this? I need to connect these 2 points. Just click on that. So both points were selected, right click and just add trend line. So you can see a trend line have been added up. And if you want to change its outline, you can change it. So okay, this is the trend line. Just I kept it in this way. And right now I need to, forecast this forward towards x-axis to get AOFP, and I have to backward side, I have to forecast to get my reservoir pressure. So this, according to this straight line, it need to extend towards y-axis to get PR, and it need to extend towards x-axis to get AOFP. So just again click on it, double click, or format trend line, anyway you can use. So you can see there are 2 options over here, forecast forward as well as backward. So I'm going to forecast this forward side. You can take the units of x-axis. Each unit you are having 50 divisions, like 350 to 450 divisions. So I can simply put it here as 50. So you can see what will happen. So it moved 50 units forward. So to meet x-axis, I need little bit more. So I will be forecasting it up to, I'm just giving 600 value. So you can see it has touched x-axis exactly at 1000. So this is my AOFP. You can see where exactly it is touching. It is touching at 1000. So my maximum flow rate can be determined at 1000. So AOFP is 1000. I'm just putting that value, AOFP. Then let me just go with the backward side. I need to see where it is going to exactly touch on the x-axis. So again, you have to forecast, format, and go to backward forecast. The same units you have to use, like 100. It is going, 100 is not enough. Let us make it 200. So it is touching at 3000. So my reservoir pressure is 3000. So this is how reservoir pressure, I can name it as 3000 PSI. So in this way, this is actually IPR. This is what we say it as IPR. So it's a straight line which is having AOFP of 1000 STP per day and a reservoir pressure of 3000 PSI. So right now, as I told you, we are going to talk about AI. So this is a linear graph that we have generated. And let us just get back to, I'm going to select this data, copy. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go for another platform. It could be any platform you can take, like any coding platform, Python, R, or anything like MATLAB, or anything you can take, anything. So ChatGPT will help you to code it without, you need not to know anything about coding. You need to ask it to give me a code to generate this outcome. So right now I know Excel, so I done this IPR. So I don't know programming language. It could be any language. So let us see whether ChatGPT will help me to do this without any coding knowledge. I am not going to show you any coding statements. I'm going to just go and prompt. This is what I'm going to do. So I selected the data and I'm going to share the screen. Right now I need to share full screen. So I am opening, you can see the full screen. I am sharing the screen, this one. So let me, yeah, I think I am missing the tab out on the top side. Okay, anyway, I will try to adjust it. So Chat GPT was in my one window. Google Colab, I am using Python. It is not just about Google Colab. For Python, you can use Jupyter, or if you have installed Python environment like Spider, Anaconda, you can use that. If not anything, it is not that I'm not going to only use Python. I can do the same thing with other languages also. So currently, the best platform, currently every industry and everyone is adapting to Python. So I have chosen this as a source for right now. Okay, let me just go to ChatGPT. You remember that I have copied the data of IPR there. So this is the window of ChatGPT. Go to Message tab, Control V to paste the data. So Q data was there, P data. It looks little random. It is not exactly structured like Excel. But if you could see this, it looks like a little random way of adjustment. But actually, ChatGPT reads everything how you have copied. So don't worry about that, whether Q belongs to column or P belongs to row. Nothing to worry about that. I took it as a column, so I have just copied and pasted the data over here. So just your job have been done up to that. And right now what I want is I need to generate scatter plot. Scatter plot. You can ask it like if if you want to prompt it, just generate scatter plot in Python. Python, you can use short form or else you can fully type it, Python. So let us see whether it is going to give me a code. So you can see that what it is telling is to generate scatter plot in Python, you can use libraries matplotlib. So if you know about, like, this is the one you are going to learn in Python. Like if you want to create scatter plots, you need to learn a library that is matplotlib. So right now I got a code which is generating scatter plot by using matplotlib. So I'm going to copy the code. I will go to Python environment, that is Google Colab. So you can see the code part is here. Just Control V, paste the code, and you can click on here the play button or else Shift Enter. So you can use Shift Enter. Right now it is compiling. I'm expecting that scatter plot will be generated with 2 points. Just wait. Yes, I got the scatter plot. You can see that it has given y-axis as P and x-axis as flow rate, and it has given 2 points. But this graph was adjusted. Like imagine when you see this graph in Excel, it has given from 0 onwards. You can see it was not showing 0. It was just adjusted according to the data that we have given. So right now what we have to do is we will follow what we want. What is that we want? Our ultimate agenda is to find out AOFP. So let us go with AOFP as well as reservoir pressure. That means what? You need to satisfy the conditions of AOFP. That means where exactly you're going to get AOFP when P becomes 0. It should be X intercept. For that, what you have to do, you need to have to add these particular 2 points, a trend line. So go to ChatGPT, ask it to add trend line. Simply, like, just simple prompt is enough. Add trend line. Click it. So I got the code. I'm going to select copy code, go to Python page. I paste it here, Shift Enter. So you can see that these 2 points have been attached with the trend line. And right now I want this trend line to forecast forward and touch the y-intercept as well as x-intercept. And then only I will be getting the values of AOFP as well as reservoir pressure. So let us go to ChatGPT. We will ask it. You need to forecast it, but never use forecast term. Why? Because forecast means it takes some formulas and it will start going forward. So rather than that, you can use the word extrapolate. Extrapolate trend line towards x-axis at y is equal to 0 and y-axis, okay, like we will write end y-axis at x is equal to 0. Join them and enter. So this is the code that it has generated. So just copy it, go to Python page, Control V. So you can see the code it has created. Let us see what it will give us the result. Yes, we got the result. So you can see that it has extrapolated towards y-axis at 3000 and x-axis at 1000. If you want to know exactly the values of it, then we can ask like display the values of it. So ChatGPT is created a code. Let us go with. So you can see the values over here. So 0, 3000. 0 is your x value at x intercept. X is 0 and y is 3000. That is your reservoir pressure. And when it comes to y axis, so At y0, the value of x is 1000. So this is how we can able to generate, IPR curve. So if I want to make, like small changes. So the title, you can see adding labels here. Another important thing about ChatGPT is it is not just about blindly copying a coding. It will give you some hints. When you see from starting itself data, so X and Y, it has given the values of data here. If you want to change it, let us try to change here to 1600. So let us see what will happen. Shift enter. See, it has adjusted the point we are not sure where exactly 1600 is. So you can see, but according to that, the value of your reservoir pressure and PR have, IOFP have been changed. Why? Because you changed that value. So you can do any alterations here. So this is, we don't know how to code it, but at least it is giving a hint. Based on that hint, you can do some changes. So initially it is not 1600, it is 1800. So I will keep initial values. I will create the code. So you can see again, it changed to 3000 and 1000. Okay. So next one is fit the linear regression line. So this is going to fit that exact trend line into the points that we have. Calculate the intersection point. Since we requested for intersection, so it started to take that. I haven't mentioned the word of intersection, but what I told to ChatGPT is it has to meet x-axis. So it understood it and it has created that as an intercept line. Create scatter plot. And here, let us like that every hint is a will plot trend line, extrapolate everything, display the values. And here adding labels like Q is there, P is there. I just want to change scatter plot to this to simply IPR. So I want to put it as inflow performance relationship for oil reserve, oil well. Shift enter. So my that title of my graph have been changed. So this is the benefit of right now. I without coding I could able to create this much code. Probably it could take some time to learn what is matplotlib, and we used only yeah, we have used two libraries, not just about one. If you see in this code, we have two libraries. One is numpy, another one is matplotlib. To calculate all the values like calculations, we are going to use the library that is numpy. But when you want to create graphs, slopes and all, you have to use matplotlib. So without, I haven't used any coding statement. I have generated matplotlib as well as numpy programming to get the value of this particular graph, that is IPR. So if you have understood this, let us go little bit advanced. So right now I have created a very linear, very basic one. Uh, Actually, we haven't gone seriously into the business of AI, but I just want to show you for a person who doesn't know coding, how he can use ChatGPT to code. So this is what exactly I have shown you. So let me just go and little bit deeper into the areas. Let me just get to my presentation. So this is where exactly we stop. So we have created the value of IPR by using this one in Excel and the one in Python. So Python we generated with ChatGPT. So this IPR is very linear. It doesn't have any curves, any complexities or any variables, nothing is there. So let us go a little bit deeper into that. Gas well. So when it comes to gas well, things will be different. It is not equivalent to linear things. There are so many things that you need to consider, and which is a little bit complicated. So you can see on the screen, this is actually IPR for gas well. Earlier, we have done IPR for oil well. Right now, this is how the gas IPR looks to be. It is not simple like earlier. And for gas well, you should not stick with 2 points, but we need at least 4 points. So we need at least 4 test points to generate gas IPR. And these are the equations that we are going to use. And what you are seeing here is log graph. So on the y-axis, you can see on the y-axis, PR square minus PW square is there. So it is not just P. Earlier for oil well, simple P, which is PW. But here it is the difference between squares of pressures. And that too, it is in logs. So 10 power 4, 10 power 3, it is actually in log. When it comes to x-axis, that is in flow rate. And flow rate, which is measured with million metric standard cubic feet per day. So this is how flow rate, that is also in log. And your graph was supposed to look in this direction. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 points are there. With that log, it will give a straight line. Without log, it will bend. So you cannot get the values. So here also we are supposed to estimate the value of absolute open flow potential for gas well. This also follows the same condition like oil well, where PW will become 0. When PW on y-axis, if it becomes 0, then the overall y-axis will be equivalent to PR square. So PR square could be the highest value on the y-axis graph. From that graph, you need to extrapolate it where exactly the trend line of the connected points will be intercepting. From there, you need to project it on towards your x-axis to get your AOFP. So this is one way of getting AOFP through graphical, which is bigger, which is like little longer way. But you can do the same thing in tabular way also. Like you can do that in Excel as well as in Python. So let us start going quickly and try to get the value of AOFP with the values that we have. And you can see there are a number of methods are there to estimate. One is back pressure equation is there, pressure equation, pressure squares are there, pressure equation is there, and pseudo pressure equations are there. So currently for today's session, I have selected pressure square equation, PR square minus PW square is equal to A into QG plus B into QG square. So this is a differential, this is a quadratic equation where two variables are there. You need to estimate those two variable values, then only you can able to generate the graph. Without estimating that values, you cannot create the graph. So pressure square equation is the one which we are going to select. That is PR square minus PW square is equal to A into QG plus B into QG square. So this is the data that we have. A gas well tested using a 3-point conventional deliverability test with an initial average pressure. Initial average pressure means reservoir pressure. That was given to be 1952 psi, and the recorded data, it has given 1952 where the production is 0 QG. From there onwards, 1952 becomes 1700, 1500, 1300. So this is actually wellbore pressure. So wellbore pressure is reducing, then production is increasing. You can see how the production from once the wellbore pressure reduced from 1952 to 1700, it has created a well production flow rate of 2624 MSCF. So million standard cubic feet per day. So once it has reduced to 200 more PSI, it has increased 2000 pressure. So in that way, it is increasing. Okay, I have chosen pressure square method to solve it. Okay, so let us get into Excel first. So Excel, so this is the data that we have. What exactly we have the data I kept over here. So pressure square method, PR square minus PW square is equal to A into QG plus B into QG square. So this is a bit complicated process. How to create, see here, I have written AOFP. So I have the pressure data 1952 to 1300. This is the data that I have. And we got that 3-point test flow rate values are here. And we need to generate, if the pressure have dropped from 1300 to 1200, 1100, 500, like that up to 0, what could be the values of flow rate? So this is the part, it is empty. So we don't know. We need to generate these values. And the last value where PW is equal to 0 is the value of your AOFP. So the last value is the one which you need to generate. But before that, you have few more, gaps are there that has to be filled. On what, on how we are going to fill this gap. That is the reason they have given this equation, pressure square. So we are going to use this equation to generate the values over here. So let me just tell you a small concept, and quickly we will dive into this. In Excel also, we have AI. So we have some techniques that have been encrypted in Excel. So I'm going to use that quickly. And next to that, I'm going to use ChatGPT. So for that, they have given a function LHS RHS. What is LHS? PR square minus PW square. RHS is A into QG plus B into QG square. So QG value was here. PR is 1952, which is constant, but PWF will be varying. 1952, like these are the four values that have been varied, but A and B are unknown. So I will simply put the value of A as 1, B as 1. And after this, from this data, in green color is the data that we already have. So I'm going to create PR square minus PW square, which is equal to your LHS. So PR square. So I have selected PR and square minus first value is same PR to PR square. And I'm going to block or make that first value as constant by adding function F4. So first value is 0. From there onwards, if I start iterating forward, I will be getting PR square minus PW square, PR square minus PW square, and PR square minus 2. So this is actually equivalent to your LHS of this equation. Okay, so if it is equivalent to LHS of this equation, that should be equal to RHS. What is RHS? A into QG plus B into QG square. So I don't know the values of A and B. I simply kept the values here. And this is my RHS. So let me create whatever RHS values that I have. I'm going to create that value here. Is equal to A into QG, that is this, plus B into QG power 2. So I'm going to block the values of A, function F4, and B also, function F4. So first value will be 0 since all the values are 0. So you can see the values of second one. It used the flow rate here, A here, B here, and this is the third value, and this is the fourth one. But what is your hypothesis is, this RHS values are supposed to be equal to LHS values. But whether they are equal apart from first value, all are not equal, but they are somewhat like, the decimal values are coming close to each other. If I change this value, like imagine I put 250. So you can see the values are changing. If I put this value as 2, so this value is also changing. So we don't know the values of A and B. If A and B are exactly right values, means these values will become equivalent to these values. So right now my objective is to find out the values of A and B. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use small a technique here. So there is another cell is there, sum of x, y. So this is nothing but sum of x square minus y square. Imagine if this is RHS, this is LHS. If both are same, then the squares difference between RHS square and LHS square will become 0. This is what it will be. Why? Because this value, if it is equal to this value, if RHS is equal to LHS, RHS square minus LHS square will become 0. So this is what exactly the function is about this. I'm going to just select sum of x square minus y square. There is a function in Excel called SUM. You can see here x2 m y2 means x square minus y square. So what are it is asking array of x. I am taking this x as your RHS, comma, and y as your LHS. So here what it is doing is sum of x square minus y square was supposed to be, if both are same, it should be equal to 0. But let us just close the bracket and put enter. So it is giving a very big number. So that means it is not 0. That means these two values are not same. Why? Because these two are not the right values. So because of these two values, we are not getting the value of RHS, which is equivalent to LHS. So this is what it is. So right now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask Excel to change these values. I can do it. Like I can put 0.1. So I don't know the value, but it is giving some value. But I want Excel to do this job for me. So I want it to iterate the value so that these RHS values will become equivalent to LHS values. I have selected for that. What I will do is I will select the sum of x square minus y square. This is where the A will come. Go to data tab and there is a function called solver. So just click on it. So you will be getting, this is actually AI part of Excel. So this is the function that we have. So solver parameter, and in this you can set the objective of the cell. You have selected sum of x square minus y square. That cell was selected. Just click on it, select the cell, just click down, and it is asking what you are want to make this out, whether it should be maximum or minimum or any targeted value. I kept the value of that cell should be equivalent to 0. And I will go to the changing variables. Just to click on, these are the variables where we can change. So you can just remove all the values. And what the variables I'm selecting is these two. So these two variables I kept it here so that it will do number of probability iterations and it will check whether the values will come close to your RHS values. I selected that part. And there is a subject constraint is there. Earlier I kept this value, but I'm going to change this. It is asking change, this is change constraint, cell reference. What is the reference cell I want? I want my RHS values. This is the operator. You have different less than or equal, greater than equal. It should be integer, bin, or differential equation. So I'm going to select one operator that is equal. Cell reference is LHS equal to what is the constraint? That is my RHS. So this is the condition I'm keeping it, clicking OK. So I have kept all the values. And here one more part is there. I ticked it here, make unconstrained variables non-negative. So whatever answer it is going to generate, that will be positive. For that it has given, I have given the tick mark. So I kept the sum of x square minus y square to become 0. I want A and B to be variables. I want it to change the values over here. And I want RHS values that was supposed to be equal to L. This is the condition we are asking to follow for Excel. And let us go for solve and let us see what will happen. So you can see solver could not find a feasible solution. Don't worry about that. Why? Because 100% result we cannot get. Only thing we can get is very much close to it. But if you observe sum of x square minus y square, still it is somewhat bigger, but it has been reduced a little. But let us come to our primary object. I'm going to click OK here. Let us try to see our primary. It has given a value of A as 307 and B as 0.016. So this value is same for all these values. So let us see RHS and LHS. So 0, 0. Just check out the value of second one, 920304, 920304. Third value, 1560304, 1560304. Fourth value, 2162684, 2120304. A little bit variation is there in the third value, but this could be the best fit through Excel. So this is the best results that we got it through, AI part of Excel. Right now, what we have to do is you have created a function which replicates your RHS. From that, you can forward towards further. We already got the values of A, we already got the values of B also. So we will keep that values as constant. Next thing is, we already have the pressure values here down until 0. So you have the values of here, so just forward it towards down. So you can see the value of here. This is the one which is the last one. The last PW value is equal to 0. At this point, what could be the value of Q? So this should satisfy this. Let us see the same process we will follow. So I don't know the values. These are all empty values. I'm going to simply give the values 1. I will just keep, I don't want to keep that cell as empty. So I just given the values as 1. But here it is calculating all the values by using these flow rate function. I'm going to take forward towards the end of the term. So you can see, since it is 1, the values are given to be like this. But these are not supposed to be equal to 1. You need to change the value. Imagine if I give equal, somewhat equal to this, like 3565, like 4 digits. So the value of this should be equal to this. In that way, all the values of this should be iterated or changed or modified so that, or optimized so that these values will become equivalent to these values. In that way, this could be my final answer. So this is what I'm going to do. Of course, this is the first time you are listening to this concept. It could be a little confusing, but since we have time shortage, I want to go quickly. So please, if you have a video or anything, you can just go and repeat. Just try to understand why, because these are all big concepts. I cannot go slowly to cover everything. Okay. So what is my objective here is I'm going to change these values in such a way that my RHS values will be altered so that these RHS values will become equivalent to LHS values. In that way, I will get the value of AOFP. This is how I'm going to get it. The same thing what I'm going to do is right now, I'm going to select sum of x square y square, but this was selected up to 4 cells. Right now, what I will do is I will increase up to the last. I have increased it. I have increased it up to the last. Clicked it. So this is becoming minus, but actually I want to make it 0. For that, just I will click on it and I will go to solver and I will keep the same statement. I want to make it 0. But earlier, the variables of A and B, I will keep it as constants. Right now, these are not variables. These are constants. I'm going to change these values are variables. Why? Because these are the values which were not known. So these are variables and the value of this also will be changed to from RHS whole to be equivalent to LHS whole. And just go to OK and click on solve. So you can see the value of AOFP, we got it at 8,500 MSCF per day. You will be getting the value of AOFP. So this is the whole process of pressure square method. So with the help of ChatGPT, can we do this with, in Python? Like if you are interested in Python, then we can carry on Python and we can do that. I think we have completed the time period. I have shown you up to here. So we are going to continue this with tomorrow's topic in next time. Up to you, Nikhil.